All right, folks, there's a deep concern in Rockdale County in Georgia after students at Honey Creek Elementary School walked into class and found signs reading whites only and colors only. The teacher says the lesson was meant to teach about civil rights icon Ruby Bridges, but the teacher reportedly used unapproved materials, sparking outrage among parents and prompting an investigation. One mother spoke out at the school board meeting, saying her child was hurt and she was shamed online for speaking up. The Georgia NAACP called the incident a chilling echo of segregation, demanding action, not just apologies. They said, let us be clear, there's no place in our schools or in any public space for racism, hate, or ignorance. What occurred in Rockdale County is more than a prank or isolated behavior. It reflects the ongoing need for serious, intentional education about our country's history of racial discrimination and the continued work required to build inclusive, respectful environments for all students. I mean, Derek, you're there in Georgia. I don't understand. If you're going to do this kind of lesson, you kind of might want to have some broader conversations so there's no confusion.
Yeah, Roland, but here's the unfortunate thing. The Georgia General Assembly just passed a bill, Senate Bill 36, religious freedom, that allows for these types of events to occur. I mean, you know, and Governor Kemp, he signed that bill into law immediately. And he signed it into law on the day we were recognizing the assassination of Dr. King, April 4th. And this is, I mean, he didn't waste no time, Roland. He did it on the day we were recognizing the 57 years of Dr. King being assassinated. We were talking about the life and legacy of Dr. King on April 4th. And on that same day, he signed into law the Religious Freedom Bill, Senate Bill 36. And this was one of the things, yours truly went to the well and said, if you sign this bill into law, you're going to start seeing colored bathroom, white bathroom. You're going to start seeing these things. And they were motivated, Republicans were motivated, Roland, when that orange dude that's occupying the Oval Office did an executive order to overturn an executive order from LBJ, executive order, which basically said that any contract, federal contract, if you abide by any kind of form of segregation, you will not get a federal contract. And so when that executive action took place a week and a half ago, the Republicans right here in Georgia put into motion Senate Bill 36, and Governor Kemp signed into law on April 4th of this year. This is what happened.
I just don't get, Matt. Matt, that if you're going to do one of these lessons, you might want to cross all T's and dot all I's.
Yeah, you know, look, to me, the biggest failure in this lesson was not letting the parents know the lesson was going to be taught this way. That's where I think the failure really exists, because it creates an environment where you then have to ask whether it was truly a pedagogical thing. They were going to teach the kids about Ruby Bridges, or whether somebody, you know, was out there trying to foment hate, basically, by posting these signs and tried to cover themselves by claiming, oh, this was about teaching Ruby Bridges. I will say there's a part of me, a pretty healthy part of me, that says I actually think from a thought perspective, it's an important thing for younger people and people in general to be reminded of how recent the civil rights movement was and how real it was. I think we lose sight of that it was people, you know, in my own father's lifetime, he was sitting in class when his teacher came in and said Dr. King had been assassinated, right? And he tells me to this day vividly that he remembers her bawling her eyes out in his class. That happened in my father's lifetime. It was not that long ago. So the idea of having signs to teach children how serious this was and to teach children how far we've come, even if we're backsliding now, I understand doing that in a way that can be pretty demonstrative. I think the problem here, though, is if you don't let the parents know that, then it creates a confusion as about whether this was really pedagogical or whether there was something else at play, to Derek's point about recent bills that are passed and all the craziness that we see, kind of in the national forum. So I'm not opposed to this as a teaching tool, I think, with the right preface, but it sounds like they didn't do enough of a preface, and that calls into question whether it was truly intended to be a teaching tool.
Listen, Michael, I believe these sort of lessons should be taught, but yeah, you might want to kind of do it right.
Yeah,
you may want to think it through.
Yeah, you want to get some help. So there are a few things here. Number one, when you look at resources for teachers, and I've looked at a lot of resources. I use some of those when I teach my classes and do my lectures. One of the things they tell you, and there was one called Teaching Hard History, American Slavery. And if you don't mind, I'll just show the document. This is from the Southern Poverty Law Center. This actually helps teachers teach about the history of slavery, and you can use some of those same lessons and cautions when it comes to the civil rights movement. One of the things they say don't do is do reenactments. OK, so this is a situation where it seems like the teacher had good intentions, but there are resources that can help them, like from the Zen Education Project. They have a lot of good resources for teachers to teach various aspects of history. Also, ASALA.org, which is Association for the Study of African American Life and History, which is the organization that Dr. Carter G. Woodson created, who created Negro History Week. So there's a sensitivity, and with these various lessons that come from these different organizations, they're also age appropriate. OK, so it sounds like there was good intention, but when you start putting these signs up around the school, things like this, it can also be very traumatizing to African-American students. And this is something that we want to avoid. So you want to reach out and get those types of materials that are age appropriate and for educators, and then present that to whoever needs to approve it as well.
Again, if you're going to do it, make it make some sense and don't do it haphazard. That's really what the goal is. All right. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. You heard what we just talked about there. Folks, I can't reiterate this enough. Listen to me clearly. I cannot reiterate this enough. When you've got technology companies running scared, when you've got legacy media not doing their job, when you've got black-owned media that is disintegrated, now is more than ever for us to have independent media that cares about the truth, that is willing to say what needs to be said. So when you support Roland Martin Unfiltered, this show, when you support the Black Star Network, you're not just supporting me, you're supporting the other shows. Our goal is to add 2 more shows this year. We want additional shows. We want more weekly and daily shows because we want to be able to speak truth to power. We want to be able to say what is necessary where other people are scared. And when you are scared, when you're looking over your shoulder, oh my God, that advertising contract is not going to come in. Well, guess what? A lot of these major ad agencies, they're not even supporting us anyway. You know, in 6 years of doing this show, Group M hasn't done a damn thing with us. Publicis hasn't done anything with us. You've got Horizon, you've got all of these folks. They haven't done jack. And so we are calling it like we see it, and we're speaking truth. And unlike some of these other so-called progressives and people who believe in truth, I'm not running around trying to kiss MAGA ass and kiss Trump's ass. I won't be going to Mar-a-Lago, not for a damn thing. And so this is about us being able to speak truth. So when you support this show and this network with your resources, that is exactly what is happening, because we are trying to build something that is bigger and broader, and actually it has the courage to say what needs to be said, even when it makes other folk uncomfortable. If you want to contribute giving Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. This is it right here. And if you are listening, simply go to blackstarnetwork.com to check it out. Also, if you want to see your checking money order, some of y'all old school, we understand that. See your checking money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And again, folks, we've got some 4 million social media followers. If only 20,000 of our fans contribute at least $50 each, which comes out to $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day, that's $1 million. It allows us to be able to continue to build, to add these shows and do the work that's required. So your support is needed. So please join our Bring the Funk fan club today if you've not already joined. If you have given to us in the past, please renew your commitment, because it's important that we support Black-owned media, because Black-owned media matters.